And we are live. Good morning, everyone. I've got a really great surprise for you. We've got Congresswoman Julie Johnson is going to be joining us today. I'm really fired up about this. We're going to talk about the shutdown. We're going to talk a little bit about ICE. We're going to talk about Democratic strategy. I'm super excited. So let's just dig right into it. Welcome, Congressman Johnson. Thank you, Congresswoman Johnson. Thank you for being here very much. I truly appreciate your time. I know, especially right now with the shutdown and everything, you are busier than busy. I'm super grateful for your time. Thank you so much.
I'm thrilled to be here. I love your show.
We've got several important topics to talk about, and I know your time's very valuable. Which way would you like to go first? We want to talk about shutdown first, or would you like to talk about ICE first, or Dem strategy first? Which way do you want to go?
I'm here to roll with you, man. Whatever you want to do.
Well, let's dig into the shutdown first then, because the Republicans seem to be in quite a bit of disarray here. You've got I'm beginning to wonder if we aren't all just stuck on a rudderless ship, because you've got Trump that comes out and totally contradicts what the Republicans have been saying that he's been negotiating with Democrats, but he hasn't. Our leadership has said, no, that's not happening. But you've got the president of the United States, who is either an incorrigible liar, or he is truly as gone as everybody is afraid he is. I mean, he's just not there. And we also got pushback from the Republicans on that, because they were like, oh no, we're not doing that, because they're trying to present this front of, oh, we're tough guys. We can, we're going to win this. We don't have to do anything. We don't have to compromise. What do you think, man? I mean, where are we?
This is kind of what I think. I think Trump had a moment when he realized people in this country want health care. And he had a moment where he acknowledged the political reality that the Republicans are in some hot water by trying to kick off millions and millions of people away from their health care. He says, oh yeah, we want health care. I'm sure we're negotiating on that. And then the Republican leadership was like, whoa, backstroke, back up, reverse. We're not negotiating on shit. And so that's kind of where we are. I think he had a moment of political clarity to realizing that healthcare is very popular with the American people. But if I could, I'd love to just sort of break it down on what this fight is about, if that's all right. Because, I find that people don't really get it and what it means. So what happened is in March, they passed this bill, his big
ugly bill.
And what that bill does is it cuts all funding off of Medicaid. That cut is delayed until next year. It removed all of the ACA tax credits for your health insurance, and it did a lot of terrible things. And they've had since March to pass a budget and to go through the appropriations process. The world has known September 30th has been on the calendar. This is not some surprise. This is not some deadline that snuck up on everybody. I knew this deadline was a thing January 3rd when I got sworn in. I mean, this deadline has been on the books. It's the end of the fiscal year for the federal government. It happens every year. So there's Republicans have had all of April, all of May, all of June, all of July, all of August, all of September to pass a budget, and they have completely failed. So what they have done now is they put a thing out there called a CR, which is a continuing resolution that says, we're not going to go through our budget process. We're just going to extend the madness that we already did a little bit longer. And their argument is we need more time to negotiate health care. So we need until November 21st to do this, even though they have had all these months. They haven't done it. They've told Democrats this whole time, we're not doing it. They've done absolutely nothing to indicate they're going to do it. And so everyone's health insurance premiums all their new notices are coming out. The health insurance renewal is January 1st. So you have to decide now if you are going to sign up for health insurance come January 1st. And you need to know now what your healthcare costs are going to be, because it makes a huge difference if you can afford it. And let me just break down some facts. This is terrible for the American people. So if you are, let's say if you're in your 50s and you have a household income of $85,000, there's millions of people that are in this category, and you get your health insurance through the exchange. That means you don't work for a big company. That means you work for yourself. That means you work for a small business. That means you might be retired. That means, any number of things. But millions of people get their health insurance this way. And that means your health premium is about $7,000. If this CR goes through, if the Republicans get their way, your health premium is going to go to over $23,000. Who can afford that? No one. And so then what happens? Millions of people go uninsured. We already lead the nation in uninsured care and uninsured people. We already have like 6 million Texans do not have health insurance and have access to it. So what does that mean? That means if you get sick, you go to the ER, you're using our ER as your primary care. It's all unfunded, and our healthcare system is already strapped. So you add another 4 to 5 million people who are uninsured into that mix. Mm-hmm. Then you add, once the Medicaid cuts come in, you add another 4 million people without insurance onto that. You're going to have like almost half the state without insurance. That means our health system can't handle it. And that means if you have health insurance, your insurance is going to quadruple to cover the unfunded care of everyone else. So this is all of us problem. This is not just a you problem or a they problem. This is an everyone problem. And we're holding the line.
That's a huge point that you just made right there that a lot of people really miss. It's, they want to say, well, it's just these people. This group of, I got an email from somebody that's part of our community that was super excited. They got a new job. They make a little bit more money. Super excited. Found out that because they make more money, the subsidies changed. Everything that they were expecting to come into their household is now gone,
right?
Because their subsidies decreased, and they won't get coverage for several months on their new job. So the next several months, they're out of pocket like $4,000 a month to cover their family, and they're just heartbroken because they really thought this was going to be a great thing, But the point you were making about the fact that these people being it's not just them, because everybody, the way our broken system works, our healthcare system works is, everybody that's buying that health insurance is subsidizing everything else. So when these people go without and their health insurance costs skyrocket, and they're getting the worst outcomes anyways, because they're having to wait till it's an emergency. They're running to the emergency. The worst possible healthcare you can have is through the emergency room. It's the most expensive with the worst outcomes. And that is going to just absolutely decimate everybody else's insurance premiums, and they don't get that.
Right. And the thing on top of that, Texas Paul, that really just gets me, it just gets me so much. I can't get it. Most Democratic voters are in urban areas. More Republicans are in rural areas, just the way it breaks down. The people who are going to get screwed the most in this whole thing are Republican rural voters. All these rural hospitals are going to close. They are barely hanging on. I can't even tell you how much my phone, all these hospital associations, the Rural Hospital Association, they're in my office all the time. Please do something. We cannot make it. And so that means you're voting against your own interests. That means if you're a farmer in East Texas and you have a heart attack, you're dead, because you can't get to the hospital in time. And, that's just terrible. And that's not the system that we want to be. We're the greatest country on earth. We have some of the best medical minds, the best hospitals, the best healthcare in the world. And, we need to create a system where everyone has access to it. And Democrats, we're just holding the line. This is a non-negotiable item. But I want to make something else abundantly clear, because there's two things. One, these Republicans say, well, this is just funding care for illegals. That is not true. They are not eligible to be on any federal health program, not Medicare, not Social Security, not the Affordable Care Act, nothing. I mean, nothing. And so that is a blatant lie. And the other thing is the Senate Democrats have offered a continuing resolution that restores the ACA tax credits and funds the government and opens the government. And you know what? Every Republican has voted against it. So I don't want to hear this notion that Democrats are holding hostage. They're just trying to make us swallow something that cannot be had for the American people. We've given a countermeasure that does it all, and they're rejecting it.
And that talking point that you saw, I call her bullshit Barbie, but Carolyn Levitt was talking about that. Well, they may not be able to get credits through the ACA. They may not get subsidies through the ACA, but they still show up at the emergency room, and we still have to pay for their health care that way. And I was just thinking to myself, okay, so I'm in France and I have a heart attack in France. Do you want the French hospital to say, pay me, sucker, or get the hell out? Or do you want them to treat you? Because this is what we're really talking about here. This is the behavior that they're really talking. Their bigotry allows them to say, well, they shouldn't, them illegals shouldn't be getting health care. Well, those people that are here that are trying to work their way through the system, first of all, we're not even going to get into the immigration and how they just will not allow us to fix the system. But those that are here working, they're here at invitation. Nobody shows up somewhere without a job, someplace to work. You know what I mean? These are people that are working for local companies here, hire them for construction. They hire them for dog-ass labor, hard freaking jobs, man. Right. They do. We drove by road crew the other day that were out there laying hot mix, and it was scorching hot. And I guarantee you several of the people there were undocumented. They just were. But you want to tell these people, okay, you get hurt on the job, no treatment for you? Yeah. Do you want Americans treated that way throughout the world?
Right. It's like, who are we as a nation? Where is our moral value? The only requirement there's a law called EMTALA. And that's been on the books for decades. And basically what it says, if someone presents to the emergency room in a life-threatening state, that means if you are not treated, you will die. Life-threatening. This isn't, I have a sore throat. This isn't, my tummy hurts. This is, your arm got cut off and you're going to bleed out. That means you had a heart attack. You've had, a serious medical event that is an acute emergent need at that moment situation that says you have to be treated. You can't be turned away. And you know what? That's a moral value that our country should embrace. That's just who we are as people. We are not heathens that don't value human life. We are what is it? The Republicans say a pro-life country. And, their position on this just reinforces the old argument of they're just pro-birth, not really pro-life, but that's a whole nother discussion. But they're not required to they're not the primary care center, but if you are life threatened, then they have to treat you. And that is the research and data is like, it's not even a percent. It's like 0.002 of 1% of the situations that come in of undocumented care. So anyway.
Yeah, I mean, this is what's so frustrating about this situation too, is, I cannot help but believe we are on a rudderless ship. That you have people surrounding this president that are just doing their own thing. There is no armada. I mean, when the Democrats, Biden, whether it's the Biden administration, the Obama administration, the Clinton administration, it doesn't matter. You had an admiral that ran that armada. Everybody sailed their ships in the same damn direction, and nobody went off on their own tangent. It just didn't happen. If you did, you were fired.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, if you broke from the central messaging and the central policy, you were fired. I mean, here we just seem to have people out running all different directions, doing whatever, and a president that's just totally disengaged. I mean, he was sitting with Mark Carney from Canada the other day, and he made absolutely no sense whatsoever. He himself were not on the talking points. Again, we saw the edema horribly on his legs.
It looks like my wife's a physician. She goes, it looks to me like he's had a mini stroke or something, because he's just like unhinged and he's droopy. He doesn't make any sense. He's incoherent. Something's definitely happened to him. And, there's had some points where he's disappeared from public face. He's been like AWOL for a week or 10 days, which is very unusual for him, which suggests that he's had some sort of a medical event. But they have not come out with that. I don't know for sure one way or the other.
Well, that's what I'm saying. We need to start pressuring that. I'm not saying you as a congressperson, but I'm just saying we as Democrats in general need to really start hammering that home, because whether you're talking the speech at the UN, the speech he gave before our generals, the speech before, I mean, there's just example after example after example after example at where this guy he's not there.
Well, I think the Oversight Committee should subpoena his health records and take a look at it. They can do it in confidence. That's what the Oversight Committee is about. And I'm certainly going to mention that to our ranking member.
I mean, it's a dangerous thing because, I mean, look what's going on with this shutdown. I mean, we're starting to see people get the blue flu. We're seeing backlogs in the airports. We're seeing air traffic controllers that are already overworked. Air traffic control is just, whoo, that is a job, man. I mean, it's super stressful, super long hours. And now they're understaffed. They're not getting paid. I mean, and they're starting to call in. They're starting to call in.
Well, because the thing is they're gonna start missing a paycheck, and the thing is we should really pay our air traffic controllers more, and so that because their job is critical to the function of this country and to our economy. If we don't have transit and transportation and air traffic, the whole thing collapses, and it's ridiculous that we don't treat them with more respect and the importance in our economy that they play. I've met with air traffic control. I've toured their towers. I've been out to Love Field here and up in their tower here and that kind of thing. And we really, and Trump cut a lot of their benefits. Trump fired a lot of them at the outset, which was insane. But yeah, I mean, if you look at historically with the previous shutdowns, it was air traffic control that got this country back going because everybody was just screaming and howling about it. But this is the thing. You don't have a paycheck. So what are you going to do? How do you pay your daycare? How do you get your kids taken care of? That means if they can't stay home by themselves. So that means you're home because you can't pay your daycare. And that means you're not at work. And so you have to start saving money. And you gotta start, tighten up because most people in this country live paycheck to paycheck, and they can't ride that. And so they're going to miss their first paycheck here in a couple of days, and then again at the end of the month.
So I just want to clarify: we've got it. Democrats seem to be very much every negotiation that happens. It's the same thing. Republicans come to the table, they put a gun to the head of the American people and say, "Give us what we want, or we're going to hurt some people." It's every damn negotiation every time. You give me some tax cuts for Johnny Got Rocks, or so help me God, I'm going to screw Social Security, or I'm going to, it's every time this happens. It seems like the Democrats have really figured this out this time around that go ahead. I mean, we don't want anybody hurt, but you're running the government. And if you do it, not us.
Yeah, you do it. You own it. And the thing is that it's just not like we're flying around in the wind. We have a Senate resolution on the floor that opens the government that pays our troops, that pays air traffic control, that keeps your health care in place, that doesn't bankrupt millions of American families because they have medical debt. And it's like 78%. I mean, the polling is off the charts for the American people want the Democratic resolution to pass. It is there. Republicans could vote for it. This could end tomorrow if they just passed it. So, I mean, it's all there. Democrats have come in. We have the proposal. We have the thing that takes care of it all. And we have it on the table. And every Democrat has supported it. Every Republican's opposed it. And so what does that mean? That means they're not serious about reopening the government. They're not serious about taking care of the American people. They're only serious about screwing people over because at the end of the day, they had to make these cuts in March, if you'll remember, to give people who make over $10 million a tax cut. So that means your family you just mentioned, they're paying $4,000 more so that people who make over 10 million can have a tax cut. That's just so not right. I mean, it's just that's not okay with me.
And I love the fire, and I love the fight that's coming out. People have been so hungry for this, and it's fantastic. I want to get your opinion on something, a little slight change of topic here from the shutdown to ICE. I want to talk about ICE for a second. If you'll forgive me, give me just a little bit of leeway. I want to do, this is the First Presbyterian Church in Chicago. It's a nice church. Really is. It's a nice church. This is their pastor. This is Reverend David Black. He, his background, he wasn't born into a Presbyterian family. He actually came up in a kind of Quaker faith, then went in through several different evangelical faiths, and finally ended up being a Presbyterian pastor. But he still has that Quaker background. And if you know anything about Quakers, they're vehemently anti-violent. They are. They believe in resolving issues peacefully, every issue peacefully. It's the hallmark of their religion. And this is the way this guy came up. And when ICE came in to Chicago and he saw his flock, being targeted, he went down to minister to ICE and was not greeted very, very warmly, to say the least. This is him being pepper sprayed. And this is him being pepper sprayed. I mean, this is a pastor. This is a pastor. This is a guy that is not violent. This is a guy that's not hurting anyone. He's simply ministering to the ICE agents, and they just hosed him down with pepper spray. But wait, there's more. He went back. After he cleaned himself up, he went back. And he's ministering to them again. And I've got actual video of it. He's ministering to them again. And this happens. That's pepper balls. Now, I've known a few special agents in my time. I have. Those aren't special agents. You can tell from their behavior over and over and over again, those are not special agents. I don't know who ICE is hiring. I don't know what they've done to the hiring and training process, but those people on that roof are not special agents. And we really need to, it would really be, just speaking politically, just politically, before you get to the humanity of it, just politically, if Democrats, once we return power to you in the midterms, could do some investigations as to where these people are coming from, because I promise you, these are not special agents.
Yeah, they're hiring. They reduced all their standards. They're hiring any 18-year-old now, paying them a bonus of $50,000, and they're not trained. They're not mature enough. They're very aggressive. They are authoritarian. They dominate with their power. They're abusive. I mean, look at that. That pastor was no threat. He was not armed. He wasn't proposing, any imminent threat to these guys. They're up on a roof. He's down there talking, exercising his First Amendment rights of free speech and the rights of protest. They totally violated his constitutional rights. They're acting without due cause. They're rogue. In my opinion, they're completely violating the law. They assaulted him without proper, it's just outrageous what is happening. It's just, the people of this country need to be so alarmed and raising so much hell over the complete violation of all the constitutional norms that we've had in this, that we've all known. Now, what our
They just shot him in the head.
Yeah.
At a range of what looked to be about less than 20 feet.
For no basis. Because he was standing there. He could stand
ministering. Yeah. He was ministering.
Well, he could be calling them all kinds of things if he wanted to, and still there's no cause. I mean, the reality of it is, in this country, in the United States of America, the First Amendment, the right of organization, the right of free speech. I mean, I can pull out my handy dandy Constitution and have a dramatic reading of it, but it's there. And that's who we are. We have the right to protest our government. We have the right to protest law enforcement. It's got to be peaceful. We can't be threatening. We can't put them in harm's way. We can't be pointing a gun at them and saying, I'm protesting. That's not okay. But you can stand there and scream whatever you want to. And the reality of it is, these guys don't have the emotional maturity to handle the criticism. They don't have the emotional maturity or the discipline or the training or the professionalism to understand the line between a dangerous threat, and the rights of protest, of free speech, to peacefully assemble. And our government is sanctioning this masked, unidentified, very threatening behavior, tackling women in hallways, marshaling the National Guard into our American cities. What the hell? I mean, what is going on? It is so off the rails of what is appropriate and within our constitutional boundaries. And it's so disheartening. I think, when the Democrats take power, I definitely think we need to pass some legislation to shore this up, to shore up our constitutional rights and our principles, because this is
it would be great to do some I'm not saying dox these people publicly or anything like that. I'm talking about just investigate who the hell they're hiring, because we saw a video the other day. I don't have that video for you here, but I don't know if you saw it, but you had ICE stuck in traffic. Apparently somebody hollered something at them. They popped tear gas out the windows.
They can't do that. That's just so inappropriate.
They were in front of a school when they did that.
Right. And where's the protest? Where is the outrage on it? You and I have it, clearly. More people need to join us.
Well, this is what I told everybody. I said, I know you're scared. I know you're worried. I know you're concerned. But these people are morons. They are. They're going to fail. Yes, they're going to try to do horrible shit. Like you're talking about, there's no leadership there. Christine Ohm didn't step up. Tom Homan didn't step up. Nobody stepped up and said, hey, what the hell, man? That guy is out. He's fired. He popped a tear gas canister in front of a freaking school. No, he's gone. Just as a matter of teaching them a lesson. No.
Or you pepper sprayed a priest.
Yeah. You got Christine Ohm and this is why I say they're morons. They're even bad at politics. They are, because Christine Ohm wants to go to Portland. They've had their right-wing agitators go to Portland, and on social media, they've gotten some footage of like Nick Sorter getting into a scuffle that he started, by the way. Then they have, couple different right-wing agitators that have shown up there pretending to be Antifa, dressing as quote Antifa, covering their faces in masks. They've been identified. They've been called out. But it's a small group of protesters.
Right.
Very peaceful. And it's just, well, look, I've got video for you that you're going to love this. This is going to make you smile. This really is going to make you smile. This is from Portland. I can't play the audio because I'll get a copyright strike, but you don't need the audio to make you laugh. This is for war-torn Portland, the war zone in Portland. I mean, these people are killing me. Just killing me. You talk about winning the narrative. Talk about winning the narrative. But what I mean by they're terrible at the politics of it is Kristi Noem goes down there and, she's always got that photo crew with her, the portable makeup booth with her and all the other stuff, gets up on the roof to do this shot. And then they look down and there's like a dozen people and one guy in a chicken outfit.
It's so great. And did you see there was another video of just like a whole bunch of old people with banjos and mandolins singing "This Land Is My Land"? Yeah. I mean, they are the threatening bunch. I'm telling you.
Oh man, you want to talk about a war zone hellscape, man? Watch out! Here comes Grandma.
This is the thing, Texas Paul. You have to ask yourself, why are they doing that? Why is Trump trying to normalize militarizing our cities? Why is he trying to, normalize the National Guard in Washington, the National Guard in Portland, the National Guard in Chicago? What is the end game here? Because to your point, there's not a threat. There's not a domestic threat in any of these cities that the local, very well-trained, highly qualified law enforcement can't deal with if it's a thing. It is their plan to mess with our elections. And it is their plan to either cancel the elections, appoint Donald Trump as president again in 2028. He's very serious about that. He puts his hats everywhere. He's trying to normalize this notion. And they know that the people are going to rise up about that. And so they are trying to normalize militarizing our cities to prepare for that event. And that is what we need to start talking about. And that is what we have to start getting people to be aware of, that this is not normal. This will never be normal. And this should never be normal.
And just like this comment here, this is extremely common. People are extremely afraid that, hey, we're not going to get to vote. We're not going to have a midterm election. And I keep telling everybody, I'm not asking for my right to vote. I will be voting.
Yeah,
that's going to happen. But you can't play into their hands. You have to be peaceful, folks. You do. You can't feed their narrative. You can't give them every excuse they need. We're winning this battle. We're winning this battle in the hearts and minds of the American people. Overwhelmingly, people know this is a Republican shutdown. Overwhelmingly, people are looking, they're scratching their heads. They're watching National Guardsmen picking up trash and gardening, and they see what's happening, and everybody, thank God we've got an in round around the corporate media, because they do this. I don't get this both sidism, kind of present both sides like they're both relevant arguments. When your job isn't to what is the old saying? If somebody says it's raining, it's not your job to give credence to both sides of the argument. You're supposed to stick your head out the window and see if it's raining or not. But we've got enough people talking and pointing these things out, showing these things. You see Portland, and you see it's just, it's a couple dozen protesters.
Yeah.
And it's like if you can't handle that as a law enforcement agency, quit. This job's not for you.
Right. And and the other thing is, this is just getting at a little bit of 10,000 feet, but where's the Republican commitment to states' rights? That has just been obliterated. It's interesting that the Democrats are the ones really standing up for states' rights, and the state government and legislatures and the governors to be able to regulate, and the law enforcement in their own state. But they have shot everything. These Republicans in leadership, this Trump administration and all those that enable them, have just blown a hole through anything that whatever has traditionally mean to be a Republican. Lower federal government, more states' rights. That's out the window. No deficit. That's out the window. They had $4 trillion deficit spending. I mean, our deficit has ballooned more under Republican presidents than by like 100 to 1. It's just crazy.
It is. It's insane. Like you said, deficits, everybody could say, and I'm glad to see this. The only thing that bothers me, the only thing that worries me, and I tried to explain this to people. People are like, like this guy. I mean, I'm not going to play a video or anything like that, but this is happening. This was going to be for part of later on in the show, but I'll pull it up now. This guy, he's a Trumper, and he's a farmer, and he's getting destroyed. He's getting absolutely destroyed. What I'm not hearing from these people is, man, that was a mistake.
Right. I met with some farmers the other day and we're talking about it. And their answer right now, it's too hard of a paradigm shift for them they're starting to see that this Republican administration is not working for them economically at all. But they can't get out of this brainwash of so many decades or years or however long of Democrats are evil, Republicans are great. Even though Republicans are directly harming them. And they think right now, well, this really sucks for me, but I'm sure he's going to make it better. It's going to get better. He's going to settle out. It's not going to settle out. And then at some point when they lose their family farm or when their combines repossessed because they can't make the payment on that $300,000 piece of equipment or blah, 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 maybe then they'll think, oh, but that's what just gets me so much in politics. And when you try to understand the mind of a voter is how this identity of I've been a Republican, how it's so hard for them to shake it, even though what we just talked about, there's nothing
I can explain
about being Republican that's Republican right now. It's just about abusive, tyrannical behavior.
I can explain it. And it's really simple. And a great example of it is you go back to the old LBJ quote where he said, you take the lowest white man and tell him he's better than the highest black man. You won't have to pick his pockets. Hell, he'll turn his pockets out for you. It is part of that mindset. There has been for decades, Democrats we missed the boat on this. We did not get into the culture of America. We were like, it's our job to govern. We're supposed to present policy that works and people will understand that we're doing right by them. And the Republicans said, look at them commies. Look at them gay people over there. Look at them. They're not you. All they want to do is make your kids gay. And they literally and I'm not talking about just influencers. I'm talking about people that you work with in the halls of Congress are telling American citizens these talking points, and they've created it's branding. You're Republican. You're the backbone of America. You're the only one working. They tell these people this, and they think, "Ooh, man, yeah, I'm something." And then they say they're Democrats, and all they want is transgender people. They want to have your kids have transgender surgeries at school.
Which does not
just insanity, crazy shit like that. They're eating your dogs. They're eating your cats. Oh, they don't care about you and your troubles. All they care about are them immigrants. They tell them this, and these people, they feel good that they're the good guys. They're the good people. So that farmer I just showed you is watching his farm vaporize. But to say that I made a mistake isn't just about his farm. It's not just about business. It's his entire self-identity.
That's right. That's right. An example of that, I was knocking doors, during campaign season. I go out and I try to talk to as many voters as I can. And I've knocked thousands and tens of thousands of doors in my campaign history. And I was out knocking at this young, this probably this Latino guy who's probably in his mid-20s, clearly living with his folks. And I said, hey, I'm Julie, I'm running to represent you in Congress. And I want to know if you're going to be voting. He goes, well, I don't know. I'm really opposed to those trans in sports. I looked at him. I said, let me ask you a question. How many trans people do you know that are trying to play sports? None. I said, can I tell you that that's been the law in Texas for a long time? Do you know how many D1 athletes we have that are trans trying to play sports in the state of Texas? 0. So why is that your issue? Why are you not asking me, what am I going to do so that you can get out of living with your parents? That you can afford your own house? Why aren't you asking me, what am I going to do to make sure that you have a good wage and a good job, that you have the training so that you can get out from living in your parents' house? And he just looked at me like, I never thought about that. He goes, well, that's just all they talk about. I said, well, honey, this is the thing. I'm here to try to make you better. Your life better for you. And you're getting sidetracked on stuff that has absolutely nothing to do with you. And why are you doing that? He goes, I never really thought about that, but I'm so glad you're here. And I am going to vote. And I am going to vote for you. And I really appreciate you being here. But, we just have to have these conversations. It's just amazing.
You know what we have to get over as Democrats, if you don't mind me? I mean, you are the professional. You are in office, man. You have fought the fight and got it won. This is not some amateur sitting out here trying to tell you need to do this. No, that's not what's happening. This is just an outside observation from somebody who is very much politics all the time. We're about to have a situation. The economy is going south. It is. I don't know if you've seen the stories today. Gold has broken new records. Bond yields are plummeting because people are moving into bonds. They don't have to incentivize them. So the yields are getting really cheap, are going down. All of that is safety bets, hedge bets from Wall Street, because they're looking at the economy and they know what's going on. Bernie Sanders didn't get a fanatical following because he delivers for people, because he doesn't. I was a Bernie bro. I really was. I was a Bernie bro. And was it 2020 or no 20? Yeah, it was 2020 when Hillary ran.
2016.
Yeah, 2016. I was a Bernie bro. There you go. Until he lost New York, and then, well, long story. I don't want to get sidetracked. Your time's important. Bernie gets the following he does because he will promise the frickin' sky. And he will never blink. He will promise, I will do this. I will provide you 100% universal health. I will this. He does exactly what Donald Trump does. He does. But he doesn't deliver. I'm going to be honest with you. He doesn't deliver on shit. I'll be honest with you, because, his ideas meet reality, and you've seen it. The sausage getting made is kind of ugly. It is a negotiation. Nobody walks out of there just smiling. Reality hits the road, but you can still promise it. You can promise it. This is our goal. This is what we're going to do. And you're going to have that juxtaposition where these crazies that have made their entire identity MAGA, they've made their entire identity that they're better than us, are about to get hurt really bad. And there's nothing you can do. You can't save them this time. You can't. There's 3 more years of Donald Trump.
Yeah. Well, what we can do is win elections in November, because that will put some stopgap measures. You still, if we flip the House and if we could flip the Senate too, Lord have mercy, things would change, because they can't do anything. And we would have oversight. We could put these people in under oath. They come into these hearings, they're not sworn, they're not under oath, so they can just say whatever the hell they want, because the Republicans will put them under oath. Mm-hmm. We can subpoena them. We could put them under oath. We could hold them account to telling the truth. And there's a lot of value in that. But most importantly, we would have a Democratic speaker to oversee the 2028 elections to make sure we have a fair election and that all the votes are counted, and we don't have another January 6th on our hands. And what I'm excited about is there's some organizations that are coming into Texas to make sure that we have a Democrat on every ballot for every congressional seat, every statewide seat, every state Senate seat, and every state representative seat, and every district in Texas. So if you have folks out there who might be in some redder places, I encourage you to reach out to the Texas Democratic Party and to other places about maybe if you're interested in running for office. We need good people on the ballot. We need to give the American people, we need to give Texans a choice that's a credible choice right now, because people are very concerned across the board of what's happening, but they don't feel like they have a good choice, that their options are limited. And so we need to, as Texas Democrats, we need to put the best slate we can together on up and down the ballot everywhere in Texas, because we got to win some elections around here.
We do. We really do. But I really believe that. I really believe that. Just to hammer home what I was talking about. We've got our beliefs. We have a chance to show people, everybody, the difference between a Democrat and a Republican. And the way we do that isn't just by, hey, I'm going to promise you this because I can get this done. No. This is what I want. I had to talk with Colin Allred about that. We had a few minutes during his last campaign. He's running again. And I told him, don't run as a Republican light. Don't do it. Yeah. Why would anybody vote for a Republican light when they can go vote for a Republican?
Right.
Go for the touchdown, man. Go for the touchdown. Promise what you want to do. And then work your ass off to get there. And if we don't get it all done, voters will understand. It's like a football game, man. You may have the ball and you may have an open field, but it don't mean you're going to hit that touchdown, because they're not going to give up trying to trip you up,
Right.
Everybody knows this, but I'm telling you, make the big promises, make the bold promises. That's what everybody's screaming about. They want to see Hakeem Jeffries out there saying, look, this is what we're going to do. Look at these people wrecking our economy. Look at these people. They've hurt our standing throughout the world. We're going to restore our standing throughout the world. We're going to do it by, just don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. All too often, I think we Democrats are such honest, practical people that we speak in those terms all the time, and we forget to sell the dream.
Playing banjo, singing "This Land Is My Land." No, I agree with you. I think to your point about Bernie and Alex Ocasio-Cortez. She's brilliant, by the way. I've gotten to know her on a personal level and now that I'm in Congress, and she's a really good person. Just to put it out there, but I think at the end of the day, they really speak to value structures that people want. They speak to values in a way that Democrats need to do better at. But we have value structures in this country, in the Democratic Party. We believe that people should get health care, that you shouldn't, in the wealthiest country on earth, that you shouldn't die unnecessarily, that you should have affordable housing, that we should not have 10 rigged cities and slums like you see in India and like you see in South Africa. And I've been to both of those places and I've seen those slums. Our people aren't supposed to live that way. That's why that's what the FDR Compact made, is that our senior citizens who have worked hard in this country, but who are teachers, they're living on $1,000 a month. They shouldn't be destitute and out homeless on the street in our senior age. That's not who we are as a country, with the great wealth that we have as a country. That if you are here and if you're an American citizen and you're in this country, you deserve to have a baseline. Now, if you can work hard through your hard work and your effort, and you can achieve, and we want to give you the tools to be successful. We want to give you a good education. We want to give you a healthy life. We want to give you all that to be successful and do your own thing. That's what we encourage. That's what we want. We want you. This is what I want as a Democrat. Let me put it this way. I want you out there to have the tools that if you work hard, you could achieve whatever you want.
You want to see something cool? See this? We all do better when we all do better.
Yeah.
It's something that I've always believed and I've always said. Much credit to Paul Wellstone, made that a very, very popular statement. It's something I say all the time. Did you see those hearts and skulls? You want to see something cool? Where are my ride or die Democrats at? In the chat, let me see the hearts and skulls of every one of my ride or die Democrats. Let me see it right now. Every one of you that are a ride or die Democrat, I want to see the hearts and skulls in chat. I've started a movement called the Ride or Die Democrat movement, and it goes back to when I was a Bernie bro. It does. That's where it comes from. It goes back to when, in that case, where we got factionalized. We did. And I said, look, I'm never going to let that happen again, ever. So I started a movement that said, look, you fight for who you believe in the primary. I'll fight for whoever I believe in the primary. But when that primary is over, if your guy wins, I vow as a ride or die Democrat, I will walk in that booth and I will pull the lever for your guy or gal.
Oh, yeah.
And vice versa. I expect the same. That was the foundation of it. But I want to take it a bit farther. I think I'm going to get pins. I'm going to have pins made, like a little blue heart with a skull in the middle of it. That is just to signify I am a Democrat. I am a Democrat.
I want one of your pins.
And when I tell you what, when I haven't ordered them yet, when I order them, I'll send you one. But I'm telling you, that is what we need more than anything. I get it so often on social media. I will sit there and say, oh, by the way, just to remind you, I'm a proud Democrat. And it will just blow up all over social media because there's so many people out there that are, but they don't hear that.
I know.
Because we don't brand like that. But we need to.
I know. I can't tell you. I've gone to neighborhoods. I remember this one time when I knocked this lady's door. She's probably in her 70s or so, and she's a little scared to open the door. But I'm not scary, but she opened the door and I said, hey, I'm Julie. I'm running to represent you in the state legislature. I'm a Democrat. She goes, Democrat, honey, it's dangerous out here for you. I said, oh no, ma'am. It's because she goes, well, I got to tell you, I'm the only Democrat around here. And she goes, you're not going to have many doors tonight. I said, oh, ma'am, you are not right. Let me look at this list. Let me show you this whole list of people, all these doors I'm going to go talk to. And she could not believe it. She was like, what? I said, ma'am, you're full of Democrats around here. They're all around you. They're just too scared to say it. But they're here. And it was such an interesting conversation for me. And I think we have to come out. And so to your people out there watching in Texas in particular, if you have a community organized, a group, if you have a local Democratic chapter and you need somebody to come and talk about Democratic politics, call me, I'll come.
Yeah, I'm telling you. And I tell people that all the time. People are like, oh, you're from Texas? How do you talk like you talk in Texas? I can't believe there's anybody down there like you. I'm like, there are millions of us. I would love to tell you I'm something special, but I'm not. I'm actually pretty tame compared to a lot of people around here, But yeah, that's something that I'm going to work on from now. And that's one of the things when I wanted to meet up with your folks and I wanted to meet up with other folks on the Hill, that's one of the things I wanted to talk about. We got an opportunity here, fallen in our lap. This is a Republican Congress with a Republican White House with a Republican-led judiciary, and they can't help themselves because they're incompetent morons. They are, pardon the expression, please forgive my language, fucking up by the numbers. They will on every front. This is an opportunity for us to say, now let me tell you who I am.
Yeah, I love all the comments. I'm looking over here. I'm looking at all the hearts and the skulls. That's just badass. It's so great.
I'm telling you.
I know. I hope you all come follow me at Rep. Julie Johnson on all my things.
Yeah.
Be part of our conversation.
Congressman Johnson, the last thing I'd like you to address, please. I know you got it. I know you're out of time, and I'm sorry. I do apologize. But the last thing I'd like you to address is for those people that feel like, oh, we may not get to vote in the midterm, or we may not get to. I'm telling them, look, get involved with the local Democratic Party. I'm not asking if I can vote in the midterm. I am voting in the midterm, period. If they want to put guard troops around my voting place, I don't give a damn. I'm walking right through and I'm voting no matter what. No matter what, I am voting this midterm. I'm not asking. What do you have to say for those people that are nervous, that are scared?
The right to vote is inviolate in this country. It's what everything is premised on. Our entire foundation of who we are is based on the people's right to elect their leaders and the people's right to vote. Everything flows from that. So we have to lock arms. We have to go vote. The people will have to demand it. I mean, like we have never demanded anything. It's like in the state legislature. The reason why I broke quorum with Texas Democrats in 2021 and why Texas Democrats broke quorum again this summer is because it impacted the right to vote. We don't break quorum because we disagree with a policy even though we disagree on a lot of policy, but the right to vote is at such a high level of priority. There's no priority level more than that. So what needs to happen is you guys need to vote. The thing is, you know what, Texas Paul, this is the statistic that disturbs me and it haunts me every day. 8 million registered voters did not vote in Texas in the last election. There are people in this chat that did not vote in the last election. They need to vote. We have an incredible slate of statewide candidates, that are going to run. And they're brilliant, smart, talented. Get involved. Run for office yourself. Support those of us that are running. Be part of the solution and demand the right to vote. Volunteer as an election worker. That's the other thing. We don't have enough people to run the elections. And you cannot have an election if there's not an election judge and if there's not clerks to open the poll and to actually run the poll. That is one of the most patriotic things you can do, is to volunteer to work the election so that we can have polls that are open. And so that, get involved, be a poll greeter. That's just being there as a source of information. Do you know how many people don't know how to vote, don't know what to do? To be a welcome source of first-time voter, have any questions? Ask me about it. There's so many things you can do to build confidence in our electoral system and to build confidence with people to vote and to make sure that they're safe. And so, be part of it. There is nothing like it. Do you want me to answer this question I see?
Yeah, I left that one up there. I know it's saying I don't mean to interrupt, but that's a great question. They're asking about Adelita Grijalva, and I saw that Mike Little Johnson, that's my nickname for him. Sorry, yes. I call him Little Johnson. Kind of wavered the other day when he was hit by several reporters. He was like, well, I guess we can swear in whenever, he was saying first it was, we got to wait till everybody's back. And then, this, that, and then he finally, well, I guess we could swear in if she wants to, was the last bullshit that he said. But as a caucus, where are y'all at on that?
Well, so there's two kinds of session. One's when we're in session and the other's a pro forma, where they just sort of go through the motions, which is what they're doing. They have to do a pro forma swearing in, convening of the House every 3 or 4 days. They could easily swear her in a pro forma. They swore in 2 Republicans in this Congress in a pro forma, but they're not swearing her in. And what that means is she's not able to hire staff. She's not able to move in her office. That means her constituents don't have a congressperson. They don't have somebody to reach out to for help with their benefits. All these fired federal workers don't have somebody to call. This is a thing that she needs to get sworn in. She cannot move into her office. She can't do anything until she gets sworn in. And the reason is, she's the 218th vote on the Epstein discharge petition. And what that means is there's a mechanism in the House. It's called a discharge. And that's when you're blocked in committee, you're blocked in the floor, and the members are saying, hell no, we will not be denied on this issue. A majority of us are demanding that this be brought to the floor for a vote. And it requires 218 signatures. And Republicans have signed on to it because we don't have enough signatures as the party. And so there is a majority, and there needs 218, and she's already committed to signing that, and she's the last one. And so the minute she gets sworn in, that means the Epstein files are back in the center, and Mike Johnson does not want that because Trump and all his buddies are all up in there. The corruption that's going on there is unreal. I mean, unreal. Now, remind you, Trump had his talent agency that funded the USA pageant, right? That was a pipeline. And that talent agency did a lot with Jeffrey Epstein. I mean, there's so much going on. They shared a bank. I mean, they banked at the same bank. I mean, there's all this overlapping between the two of them. And the Republicans in power are doing everything they can to shield that because it is bad.
It's their donor base. It's their freaking donor base.
It's pedophile.
Fills the Epstein list.
It is horrible. And so they are doing everything they can to keep that. And that means they're going to do everything they can to delay it as long as possible. Because I don't think they can handle Epstein and you're cutting all of our health care at the same time. That's a double.
Yep.
Pretty powerful.
Meanwhile, we're building the Epstein Ballroom. By the way, that House Sparks came up with that name, and I swear to God, I will say it every time I mention that damn ballroom. It is the Epstein Ballroom. Mm-hmm. That will be the name, the plaque on the side of that building if I get my way. The Epstein Ballroom. Taking away health care from people, shutting down the government, threatening to lay people off, which is illegal, by the way. He can't do it. He can't deny the paychecks. That's law. I mean, just a matter of law. You have to pay them. Right. Period. It's the law.
They don't get it actually shut down, but they do get it retroactively.
But remember, it's only supposed to be critical things that are open right now. That's it. The government's only supposed to be doing the very vitalist, most critical things. And according to Donald Trump, Marie Antoinette Trump, his ballroom, the Epstein Ballroom, is critical infrastructure. They're still working on the damn ballroom.
Right. Sending $20 billion to Argentina to bail out their farmers but our farmers are not. And that $20 billion could have gone a long way for people's health care.
And Argentina took our $20 billion. We swapped dollars for their pesos. They took our dollars that are actually worth something because their pesos have gone into the toilet because I did a whole show on their austerity monetary policies, have gone into the toilet. So they took our dollars, then they repealed their export tax on their soybeans, sold soybeans to China without their export tax on it using our dollars.
I said this is Venezuela, not Argentina, but yes, they exactly right. Undercut our farmers even more using our money to do that. That's how brilliant Trump is. All the while, you hardworking folks out there don't deserve health care. That is so screwed up. It is so wrong. And, the thing to me, Texas Paul, I'm curious as to what you think about this if we have just a minute. The thing that seems to me like is in politics up to this year, people haven't really felt it. They've gone to work. Constitutional norms have been in place. We haven't militarized our cities. We're not assaulting priests in the street. We're not snatching people in a hallway off the road, tackling them. We're not denying free speech. We're not canceling our favorite late night show host because he's critical of the administration. The list goes on and on and on. But now it seems like people are really feeling their government. They're really seeing that maybe their vote does matter and that maybe government does affect them. I hope that that's the case. I hope they're realizing that their participation in politics is important because the government can dramatically affect them.
Well, Congresswoman Johnson, we have to give them a dose of the BBD, man. You have to. We're courting these people. When you're courting someone, you put your smell good on, you put your finest clothes on, you just the way you present yourself, everything. We got to do it. We've got to do it. We've got to put the hard sell on. These are what I want to do. It doesn't have to be what I can do. It doesn't matter that, you may get hamstrung down the road or whatever. This is what I want to do. I want health care for every single American, Medicare for all. I want your Social Security in a lockbox. Bring back Al Gore's lockbox. That was a great idea. Everybody loved it. Mm-hmm. Everybody loved it. You know what I mean? Just raise holy hell as a Democrat. So when everybody thinks, what's a Democrat? We're defining that.
Yeah.
We're defining that.
Well, you do a lot. You do a lot in that regard. So I love being on your show. Thanks for having me.
Oh, I appreciate you being here. I know, again, I'm so grateful. I know you are so busy right now. I know it's crazy in DC right now. I do. And I'm so grateful for your time.
I love Texas, Paul. And I love all the comments. And I love all of the engagement that all you guys out there are having. And I hope that I can come back again soon, and we'll do another shutdown update in a couple of weeks. People ask me, is this thing going to end? And unfortunately, I don't think it's going to end quickly. I think it's going to go around for a while because we're not giving up, and the Democrats aren't giving in.
Good. I'm glad to hear it. I'm so glad to hear it. Everybody's got your back here. Everybody's got your back here. Look at what you're reading in chat. Everybody has your back. We know it's ugly. It's hard on people. People are getting hurt, but we know you've got to do this because Republicans are willing to hurt the American people. They are.
Yeah.
They are just willing to hurt the American people. And sometimes you just have to do drastic things to win. Mm-hmm. And we got your back. We understand.
I appreciate that. And we need everybody part of the conversation. We need everybody out there talking all they can, sharing your show, sharing my stuff, sharing everybody else's stuff, being part of the conversation. The problem is Republicans like, share, and post. And then, but Democrats, what they do is they'll see something, scream to their spouse quietly at home, or scream at their TV in their bed, and then they don't do anything. It never goes to the next step. So people need to invite your friends to follow Texas Paul. Follow me. Be part of the conversation. Be out there. Do all the things. We need everyone to be loud and proud and moving the needle.
I'll give you the last word there. I appreciate you, Congressman Johnson. Thank you so much for your time. Looking forward to that update when we finally whip them.
Yeah. Yes, sir. You take care now.
You too. Whoo, I love her to death. I really do. I love her to death. I'm telling you, this is who Democrats are. Smart. She's a fighter. God, I love Congressman Johnson. I'm telling you. That's why people are like, Paul, how can you be so calm? How come you're not freaking out like the rest of us? I'm like, man, I know. I know who's on our side. I know who's doing we're going to win this. We're going to win this. I appreciate you guys for supporting. I'm sorry I couldn't read your comments. John Wilmington says, thank you, Julie Johnson. But I don't like to interrupt guests when they're, with when we've got guests here. I'm just trying to not be rude. I appreciate everything. We've got a few more things to talk about. We've got several things that are going on. Of course, we talked about a little bit with Julie Johnson that, the Republicans they're in disarray. They are completely off message. They are. They have no idea which way to go, what to say. They're saying stupid stuff like this. Mass layoffs, Trump is threatening, and shutdown fight may be illegal. Well, yeah, of course it's illegal. Of course it's illegal, but they're going to threaten it anyways. They're going to say, oh, we're going to lay everybody off. We're going to, this is every negotiation with them. Every negotiation, they put a gun to the American people's head and say, give me something for our Broligarch donors, or we're going to hurt everybody. That's bullshit. And I'm so proud of our Democrats for standing up. I'm so proud of our Democrats for standing up. I am. I tell you, it kind of hits me in the feels, But folks, we can't do that. We can't do that. We did that so many times in the past. in negotiations. People are like, well, why aren't the Democrats farther along? It's because every damn time we butt up against, have a budget negotiation or a debt ceiling negotiation, this is what the Republicans do. They threaten grandma. They threaten to take grandma's Social Security away, or they threaten to, you know what I mean? We're not having good faith negotiations on how to fix problems. We're not with the Republican Party, because they don't give a damn. They don't give a damn. And I got to tell you, people are watching. People are paying attention. The wind is at our backs. They have pissed off the entire federal workforce. When they came out and they started talking that nonsense about we're not going to pay those employees that were furloughed, good Lord, people are pissed because it's the law, folks. It's the law. There's no ifs, ands, and buts about it. It's the freaking law. Those people have to be paid their back pay. And no, you can't just go fire a bunch of people willy-nilly just because you want to use it as a bargaining chip. And people are seeing this, folks. They're seeing it. Do me a favor, while we're at it, hit the thumbs up button, hit the subscribe button. Let's get as many people in here as possible. Let's get as many people in here as possible, because we need to talk about what's going on beyond the shutdown and beyond ICE, because this is why they want to talk about ICE all the time. They think immigration is a winning topic for them. They think the bigotry that's at the core of their base will just love it enough that no matter what happens, as long as we're talking about ICE, as long as we're talking about immigration, as long as we're talking about troops going into the city, they win. I don't believe that. I believe we can fight them on all fronts, but they really believe it. And that's why they keep doing stuff like, we've got troops showing up in Chicago. I want to ask you for a favor, though. I do. I want to ask you for a favor. Where are you at? Where are you at? Here we go. This just happened. This just happened. They showed up. Those are my fellow Texans, and I want you to take a look at their faces. These ain't a bunch of bigots. These aren't a bunch of Trumpers. They're not. They aren't traitors. I saw that comment. They aren't. They're people that signed up to protect our country in the National Guard. They don't choose their orders. And I know there's a lot of people saying that they should just refuse to follow orders. Folks, that gets them in that can get them in criminal trouble if they do that. So they're going to show up. They're not going to hurt people. They're not going to attack people. They're not. They're going to go where they're deployed. And folks, let me tell you something. This week, it's a little chilly, a hell of a lot chillier than what we're used to down here in Texas. Highs in the low 60s. Next week, temperature starts to drop a little bit, about highs in the upper 50s, lows in the low 40s. That is winter here in Texas, folks. That is winter. We get very few below freezing days here in Texas. These Texans are going to be up there, and they're going to be freezing their ass off. Week after that, the rains start, and it gets even colder. These people, I'm telling you, are not used to this. They are not. So you're going to see over the next 3 weeks we're going to make sure those cameras are out. We're going to show these guys hunkering down in this shitty weather that's to come. And we're going to show what these people are going through. But these folks are not your enemy. They really aren't. They're just people that signed up in the Guard to serve their country in case there was an emergency, and they're being abused. They are. In fact, our people up in Illinois, do me a favor. Send them people home a little fatter than what they showed up there. Show up with some donuts, things like that. Take care of our people while they're up there, please. They've got no choice in it. They've got no choice in it. ICE, no, that's different. Fuck ICE. But our Guard troops, they're just following orders. They're just standing around where they're told to be standing around. They got them picking up freaking trash, for Christ's sake. They're not they're not excited about this. They may be excited to see Chicago, which I'm sure several of them are. They're excited to be up there with you. They really are. But no, they're not your enemy. They're not your enemy. Jeff Schuler says, speaking of stupidity, how dumb was Pam Bondi and her ad hominem attack crib notes? I have never seen such fake outrage on display, pure incompetence. Yeah, I've got a new nickname for her. I call her Karen Bondi now. This is what he's talking about. If you missed it, Pam Bondi was at an oversight hearing, refused to answer questions about anything regarding oversight. They asked her, did Tom Homan take the $50,000 and keep it? Refused to answer. Did he pay taxes on the $50,000 bribe he got? Refused to answer. Any pertinent questions she was asked, she refused to answer. She was asked about the Epstein files. She was asked about who gave the order to have FBI agents flag Trump's name in the Epstein file. How did that happen? She refused to answer. All she did, she had a folder that thank God we had some press there. That I love our journalists. I hate, and I want to clarify something. I do want to clarify something. I'm very hard on the corporate media, but when I'm hard on the corporate media, I'm talking about the editors. I'm talking about the management. I'm talking about the people that are making the decisions to suck up to Republicans. That's not your journalists out there on the line. That's not your photographers. We had a photographer get a good shot of Karen Bondi's folder, and it was just, she had crib notes for the attacks that she wanted to attack people with. And Fox News is playing those, by the way. While everybody else is talking about what a useless Karen she was and how she refused to ask questions, Fox News is playing in a loop her attacks. Stop coddling stupid. Deliver hot coffee to the troops when it gets chilly, courtesy of the Dems. Yeah, man. Let's take care of them people. They're not our enemy. They're not ICE. They're not ICE. And they're not there to hurt you. They're not. But yeah, we've got some really crazy shit going on. Let's stick with the economy for a second. We've got the car industry globally, not just here. Globally, the car industry is in serious trouble. I mean, serious trouble. We're talking about not only just losing some models in 2026, we're talking about losing some car brands in 2026. They're already shuttering factories. They're already, you're seeing mass layoffs in every manufacturer. The automobile industry is in trouble. We talked about this guy, the Trumper soybean farmer. You know what? We've got to, and I know a lot of people are like, screw the farmers. They are. Let me tell you about Tony. Tony is one of us. Tony is from the audience. He's the guy that sends me these hats. He's one of the people I talk about whenever I have farm issues and want to ask for clarification on something. He's out harvesting right now today. He is. He's out harvesting right now today. That's what he's doing. He's not in the audience today. He's out harvesting today. And he will be day and night until he's got a sugar beet crop that he's bringing in right now. Thank God, because his soybeans aren't selling. He was telling me that the elevator that they sell their soybeans at, that when he went by the other day, that he said there must have been 1 million bushels on the ground covered in tarps, not in silos, just on the ground, because they're not selling them. So not every farmer is this asshole that can't get his shit wired straight, which again, what I talked about with Congressman Johnson, what really bothers me is that guy, if you watch his video, never makes it to him being a Republican is the problem. He never gets there. All he talks about is, well, I don't want a handout. I want the markets fixed, but never gets to that next step where you understand, they screwed us last time. They screwed us this time. Maybe it's the way I'm voting. He never gets there in anything he says. He's literally pleading with Republicans to not be Republicans. He never puts it together. And I'll be honest with you, I have not seen a MAGA farmer that has got there. If there's one somewhere, like posting to social media or something and you see it, please email me with a link or just tell me where to go find it and I'll go find it. But I have not seen a single MAGA farmer that has put together that is their Republican vote that got them where they are. Monocool says if all they got to energize them is clips of Pam Bondi sewing out, they're in big trouble. Also, Fairbanks, Alaska Mayor just flipped blue last night. Amen, brother. Amen. It's happening everywhere. It's happening everywhere. Now we need to get loud and proud about who we are, because I'm telling you, the backdrop, the juxtaposition, it's never been greater. It's never been greater. This is happening. Did you know in August, home foreclosures were 20% higher than they were the previous year? Yeah. Yeah. And they're still going up. They're still going up. So, folks, not only do we have a banking crisis, not only do we have an agricultural crisis, we've got a home crisis on our hands. We're talking about at minimum, a housing correction on our hands. And I tell you, our banking system is not in a position to handle any single one of these crises if they lead to collapse. Not one. They are deeper. Our banks today are deeper into derivatives than they were in 2007. It is crazy. And you know me, I do things a little different. I try to show you things that are not economics, not, oh, look at these numbers. Oh, look at this. Oh, look at, oh, they're buying gold. Well, that's happening. That's happening. I try to tell you things like, hey, let's go to Vessel Finder and let's look at the ships and see what they're doing. Are they running flat out like they do in a hot economy? Are they doing 21 knots? Are there a lot of ships? Are they waiting outside the ports? No, none of that's happening. They're slow rolling the ships. Their shipping is down. We know the economy's slowing because of real world examples. Well, this just happened. We just found out we're closing cardboard factories down in Georgia. They've closed 2 so far because there's no demand for cardboard boxes. You know what that means, right? If there's no demand for cardboard boxes. Skeet said foreclosures are happening across North America. Allowing foreign ownership was a huge mistake. B. Ariolo, and thank you for always being here. What can we do if things collapse? We need to be prepared, but how? Okay, I'll answer that question. Do you have a good running car? Does your car need repairs? Get that done now, sooner rather than later. Do you have any liquid cash on your hand? If you don't eat out. Don't spend any money. Don't anything like that till you build up a little nest egg to get you through, because these disasters don't last forever. They don't. You've just got to get through. Do what you've got to do. Maybe put a little rice in the pantry. Maybe put some dried beans in the pantry. Maybe do those kind of things. I know this seems silly, though, but those practical kind of things can be life-changing in the middle of a collapse. When you're not afraid of, am I going to have food? You know what I'm saying? Do those little things. Do those little things. 1 second. Shortness. Did you see the concert Javier Milei put on after Trump gave him $20 billion? Oh God, yes. I hate this timeline too. Yeah, it's all over social media, folks. What? You know what? I'm gonna find it for you. I'm gonna pull it up for you. It wasn't part of the show. I didn't think we're gonna have time, but screw it. It's our time. We'll do it as long as we need to. Right? Thanks, Christopher. I appreciate you for being here. Let me pull it up. 1 second. I'll find that video for you. Somebody's got to have a video. There's a bunch of news articles. Somebody's going to have a video of it. There we go. Now, I cannot play the music. YouTube is really good about protecting intellectual property, and if I play the music, they will give me a copyright violation. But I can show you the video, and you can see the idiocy of what we're talking about. This is really happening. We gave this guy $20 billion. This is what he's doing with it. Really? I mean, he wrecked their economy. And that's what he's doing. Chris R., I was hoping to not have to use my BJ's Club membership to bulk buy antacids, but here we are. Yeah, no kidding, man. No kidding. But yeah, let's get back on track with the economy so we can run through this. Look, consumer. 1 second. Consumer confidence is in the shitter. And we've got factory closings, we've got layoffs, we've got farmers that are in trouble. Like I said, the auto industry is in trouble. Just about every major industry, we're seeing problems. But the corporate media and the powers that be that run them aren't running any articles that are saying, hey, man, we're in trouble. Colleen Sarah, Nebraska soybean farmers are now using crops for fire prevention foam for firefighters because they can't sell it. Yeah. Anything they can do. Anything they've lost, they've taken a bath this year, and there's nothing they can do about it. But folks, this is something I hate. Collapse happens. Corporate media is shocked. Shocked, I tell you. Shocked. Nobody saw this coming. Nobody could see that this collapse was happening. Bullshit. You just have to leave American media. This is The Guardian. This is British media. They'll tell you. People are dumping money into gold. Just dumping money into gold. Set a new record. It's over $4,000 an ounce. Yeah. Why does that happen? Why, when people are not confident in this government, are bond yields dropping? Exactly, Courtney. Economic red flag. Folks, there is no yield on gold. It's just a safe haven. It's not paying you. You know how they say, make your money work for you? It doesn't make your money. It doesn't do anything for you other than just lock you in to keep you from losing money. Bonds are very low returns. People are dumping money into bonds right now. You saw it. Nobody's buying cardboard boxes. You know what that means, right? If nobody's buying cardboard boxes, that means they're not selling shit. I sell these cups. I don't slap a stamp on it and send it to you. I wrap it up in bubble wrap, put it into a cardboard box. I have to go buy cardboard boxes. If I'm not selling cups, I'm not buying boxes. I mean, these are the kind of indicators that are out there that are screaming in your face right now. Ailish, did you see Stephen Miller on CNN talking about plenary powers of the Yes. Yes. Did you see that CNN edited that out? In the live interview, Stephen Miller, they're asking about the president's powers on, anyways, I don't want to get sidetracked. They're asking about his, they didn't ask him specifically about presidential powers, but they were talking about some of the things that Trump was doing. And he just volunteers. Stephen Miller says the president has plenary powers. You know what that means? It means he's a king. Plenary power means all powerful. With nothing, no safeguards, no nothing. I'm a king. That's what plenary powers mean. He said it, and then he immediately stops and digs on his earpiece. Like somebody said, hey, don't say that shit. And again, why I hate the corporate media. They just kind of went on like he didn't say that shit. Then when they took that video and they posted it online, they edited that part out. They edited the part out where he said the president of the United States has plenary powers. They removed it from their clip that they put online. Tell me, I mean, how much evidence do you need that the editors and the managers at these corporate news organizations aren't in the tank for Republicans? There's nobody screaming, hey, why is everybody buying gold? There's nobody screaming, hey, why are bond yields collapsing? Cool. 1 ounce is tiny. You can't exchange it for anything but fiat. It's kind of stupid because in a collapse, who will even buy it? Yeah, no, that's not it, dude. That's not how that works. They're not buying a single ounce. They're not. They're not even, most of them aren't even getting the gold. They're buying it. Somebody has it in a vault and they buy a share of it. But yeah, that's not how that works with major investors. But and again, just to back up what I'm saying, let me pull up 10-year treasury yield. All right, this is live. This is from the last year. So you can see Trump took office about right here. He took office about right here. You saw bond yields skyrocketed right after he took office. They went up big time. That means they had to make them more attractive. People were scared. They were nervous. Okay, pardon me. Phrasing that wrong. He took office. That means they were taking their money and they were sticking it into the stock market. They were sticking it elsewhere. They were buying other investments that weren't safe haven investments, right? Then you can see right after that, they start to get nervous. And you can see all during his presidency, and like in April when they were, the trade war was really kicking in with China, everybody's freaking out. Bond yields keep dropping and dropping and dropping and dropping. If you look at the last 5 years where you can see the Biden administration coming out of COVID, they didn't have to incentivize bonds at all. Down here, the bond yield was almost nothing. And it kept climbing and climbing and climbing because people were more and more and more confident in the economy, all the way until Trump takes office. Then when Trump takes office, you see the bond yield climbing, climbing, climbing. Remember, it works the opposite. When times are good, bond yields are low because, when times are good, bond yields are high because they have to cause people to buy bonds. They have to incentivize them so they make the yields higher. When the economy is really good, people want to put their money in the stock market. They want to put it in other places that make them more money. So they have to make those bonds more attractive. So when times are good, the yield is really high. And you can see over the Biden administration that bond yields went up and up and up and up because everybody was confident. Everybody was happy. And then Trump takes office. and they've done nothing but fall. They're just on a line downward, 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 downward until, we've got here in October, damn, they're just falling and falling and falling and falling and falling. That tells you what people think about the economy. Bond yields collapsing combined with people buying gold. Those are safe haven investments for when they know shit is hitting the fan. But the corporate media, I went through the stories over the last, couple days, and they're like, ooh, the economy's surprisingly resilient. Really? Then why is everybody that knows anything buying frickin' gold or buying bonds? It's never a surprise, folks. They always know. They always know. But if you want real information, good information, you have got to get out there, and you have got you've got to read foreign press. You just do. But yeah, the economy's in a mess right now. It's just, and it's global, folks. It's global. It's not just here. The UK is in full freak out. All of our folks here in the audience that are from the UK, man, they are in full freak out mode because the EU just responded to Trump's tariffs. You want to put a 50% tariff on our metals? We'll put 50% tariff on yours. And the UK, which famously left the EU, is now going to be subject to those 50% tariffs. They're watching their steel industry vaporize right before their eyes. I mean, this is global, folks. It's not just here. You wonder why they want to talk about National Guard troops, or you want to talk about stupid shit, man, just stupid shit. It's because the economy is collapsing right in front of them. It's because we're about to get the Epstein files. If we can get Adelita Grijalva in there and all the Republicans that we've had crossover, just a handful of Republicans that stay strong, we're about to see the Epstein files. They want to talk about anything but reality right now. Release the fucking files. Says my sales on eBay went downhill after the pedophile won the election. Same thing happened during the first administration. Geo predators can't govern. They can't. It's every time they get in power. There are also a lot of people selling things for the end of civilization on YouTube ads. The ads are tailored to appeal to the maggots. Yeah. I'm telling you, folks, you just need to be smart, because there's a lot of things going on in the world that are just not. They require competence. They require people that can think. They require somebody in charge. We can't be in a rudderless ship going through this stuff. You've got Russia in Europe, the EU. Is sounding the alarm that, hey, Russia is probing us. They're intentionally, this is hybrid warfare. They're engaging in online misinformation and attacks. They're trying to scare people. They're trying to, they're basically probing us with, drones. They're literally shadowing German satellites right now in space. German military satellites. The Russians are shadowing them. Ursula von der Leyen, she gets it. She understands. But the problem is, for her, it's like herding cats. They have a real unity problem within the EU when it comes to dealing with the Russia threat. Folks, war is coming to Europe. I mean, it's already in Ukraine, which is part of Europe, but it's coming to the rest of Europe. And they're pulling the old, Neville Chamberlain wasn't a peacenik. That's kind of a misconception people have. When they talk about history, people that don't really understand, they talk about Neville Chamberlain as though he was some sort of peacenik. He wasn't. He was a capitalist. He was a capitalist. He believed exactly what the Broligarchs believe now. The Broligarchs believe that they're so rich and so powerful that they could just economically negotiate their way through war, and it would never happen. And that if everybody would just shut the hell up and let the capitalists run things, we just won't have a war. And they're always wrong. They're always wrong. They were wrong about Hitler. They're wrong about Putin. Folks, Russia is collapsing. This is going to be the worst winter since the Soviet Union for the Russians. It is. Ukraine has been absolutely brilliant in their military strategy. They have just been holding the Russians where they are in Ukraine. They haven't been, there haven't been a lot of offensives. They haven't been losing men, material. They have been fighting a war of attrition with the Russians on the ground. Meanwhile, absolutely destroying their fuel production capabilities in Russia. And it's worked. It's not winter yet in Russia, but it will be soon. And they already have a shortage of fuel. Here's the thing. Putin's not going to voluntarily die. And that's what this means, folks. But a lot of people forget this. He runs Russia like a gangster. Gangsters don't get to lose. If he loses in Ukraine, loses power and support, someone will kill him. All the people he throws out of windows, shit like that. Yeah. And he's not going to voluntarily die. He's going to be willing to do some very radical shit. And the Europeans, God love you people. I love you people to death, but you did not learn the last time you were facing someone like this. He will bring the war to you just to stay in power in Russia. He will. And your Broligarchs aren't nearly as smart as they think they are. They just aren't. Stop coddling stupid. Second Reformation, we got to survive Inquisition to hit Enlightenment. I love the way you people think. George Allen, sorry I'm late. Good to see you. Glad to see you here, George. Glad to see you here. But are you following me on that? Russia, y'all are headed to war with Russia. You are. And you're not preparing for it because you've got too many different interests right now competing for what's in charge. And you've got the people, your Broligarchs, just like our Broligarchs are screwing us here in the United States. They really think they've got this under control, and they don't. They don't. And it's everywhere. You're about to kiss Taiwan goodbye. They made a massively strategic error. They made a massive strategic error. One, they relied on us. Trump does not have their back. Trump is not Biden. Biden would send our naval fleet, through the Straits of Taiwan. He would stand up for Taiwan. Trump will not. Trump will not. And Taiwan has ramped down their nuclear power in exchange for LNG power plants. They get their LNG from China, and they're up to about 40% of their power production comes from liquid natural gas, LNG power plants. They have 10 days worth of liquid natural gas in inventory at any time. All China has to do is stop shipping. Stop the tankers from going across. the Taiwan Strait, and Taiwan has 10 days. And Trump will not come to save them. It will not. You're about to see the fall of Taiwan in short order. You are. China has finished up with their Uyghur problem. That the world has turned their backs on the Uyghurs. They're focusing on Taiwan now. And they're getting more hostile every day. And Trump is no leader. He's got pudding for brains. He's gone. He is gone. And there's no one, as much as I hated John Bolton, at least in a crisis, that guy could see big picture. There's no one in this administration that can lead. No one. Colleen Sarah, what's the latest on peace deal between Hamas and Israel? If there's peace, won't Bibi go to jail? Yeah, that's not going to happen. Benjamin Netanyahu is a war criminal. He cannot allow peace. He cannot. He cannot. Joan Prim, I'm going to No Keys protest. Good. Glad to see it. George Allen's 63rd birthday today. Glad I made it. Everybody wish George a happy birthday. Everybody wish George a happy birthday. George is here. He's one of the foundational members of the audience, man. I'm glad you're here, brother. I'm glad you're here. But it's not just that. I mean, it's not just that. You've got this kind of thing. Pudding Brains Trump is mad. He's mad. They prosecuted me, so we're going to prosecute them. No, they prosecuted you because you committed crimes that they could prove. Crimes that they could prove that you committed. This idiocy. I told you, Lindsay Halligan was going to get dog walked. She was. Patrick Fitzgerald is James Comey's lawyer. And I don't know if you remember who Patrick Fitzgerald is. He is damn good. He is damn good. This is how bad this is. The reason they wouldn't prosecute James Comey when Trump told them to, and the reason prosecutors resigned. Dick Gray, thank you for being here, brother. We're starting to have it leak out what the problem was. Their witness, okay, here's the premise, okay? They're saying that when James Comey went to Congress and told Congress he didn't leak anything on Trump, that he lied. Is basically the foundation of it, that he lied. Well, their star witness is a professor by the name of Daniel Richman. He is James Comey's friend. He is a friend of James Comey. He is the person that leaked to the press. Yes, things actually leaked. Well, you can sit on social media and you can say all day long that, oh, James Comey intentionally leaked to the, but you have to prove that. Daniel Richmond has said from day one, no, just the opposite. James Comey and I were friends. We were talking, we were bouncing ideas off each other. We were talking about things. He specifically told me on numerous occasions that I can't tell anybody about the things that we're talking about. I can definitely not talk to the media. That's their star witness in this entire prosecution. For James Comey to have lied to Congress means that they have to prove that he intentionally leaked information about Trump. And their star witness, the one that actually did the leaking, says, no, he didn't. He didn't. I did it on my own. If you remember, it goes back to the whole, I'm tongue-tied. Mike Flynn, the whole Mike Flynn leak about the pardoning of Mike Flynn and all that information. Yeah. Their star witness says didn't happen. But Trump is so insane, and these people are such sycophants, such losers. I mean, Karen Bondi, can you imagine what it would take to actually do this, to follow through with this, knowing that you're going to have to go before a judge and just get dog walked? Neuropilot, EDVA, U.S. Attorney Jim Comey was a mean SOB in the 90s. I believe it. Pam Bondi seems nutty. What do you think? They're all cracking up. I think that they're all internet fools. They're internet stooges, except for Tom Homan. He's just an evil bastard. And Stephen Miller's a bigot, a diehard bigot. But the rest of them are just internet clowns, and they think that they can govern that way. They can do stupid shit like ask ChatGPT, how can we cut from the government? They're fools. They're idiots. Well, we're going to prosecute James Comey. Oh, really? Well, that's got to meet reality. That's going to end up in a courtroom. You're going to have people lose their law licenses for this. The best nickname I've seen for Stephen Miller is Pee Wee German. I love Pee Wee German. I love it. I love it. But yeah, there's some big news coming out of the Turning Point camp. There is a civil war. This is why I keep telling people, when Trump dies, MAGA's done. This always happened. Charlie Kirk gone. That organization is ripping itself apart. There's an entire movement online that are claiming that the guy the FBI has arrested, there are a lot of questions. There are a lot of questions to be asked that don't make sense. They just don't make sense, a lot of things that they're saying. But they are trying to say, let me see if I can find a quick one for you. One second. Let's see if I can find it. Bear with me. That one's nutty as hell. There's a lot of crazy shit coming out. Stuff about that his mom poisoned her husband, shit like that. All kinds of crazy shit is coming out. One second. Anyways, I'll find it for you for another show where we talk about nothing but that. But Tyler Robinson, there's a lot of questions that are coming out. What they presented to the public doesn't make a lot of sense. There's a lot of questions there, but it doesn't mean that he didn't do it. It doesn't mean that he didn't do it. It just means that, stupid, you had Patel out there just shit posting continuously. Because like I said, there's nothing but internet trolls. You had Patel out there just shit posting constantly. So the information that we have may not be an accurate depiction of everything that the FBI and the Utah State Police know. It may not be. But a lot of what they presented just doesn't hold up. So it's leading to a lot of questions, which is leading to a lot of conspiracy theories. The behavior of Bondi makes me very interested in the Gore election. No shit. She's just corrupt. She is. She's just made it so obvious. She has just made it so obvious. Joy Emily, thank you, Mr. Paul, for allowing Texas Paul to keep us informed. And Shorty 5.0, thanks for being here. Thanks for joining. But anyways, who do you think half of Turning Point USA is now blaming, because they're saying Tyler Robinson didn't do it. They're saying that now. Now that it's been established that he's a little conservative kid from a little conservative Utah household that became a follower of uber conservative radical Nick Fuentes, became a groiper, and they're not going to be able to hide that shit in court. It's all going to come out in court. They don't want to say Tyler Robinson did it anymore. They want to blame somebody else. Who do you think they're blaming? Yep. Massive split with Turning Point USA. See, Turning Point USA, much to a lot of people's surprise within the organization, is funded by Israeli billionaires. Yeah. They get a lot of their money. It costs money to do that shit. I mean, this guy, full-time, you saw the jewelry and bling his wife had on. I mean, that money came from somewhere. And they're having a big dust-up inside Turning Point USA because and this is the conspiracy theory, okay? Charlie Kirk was supposed to not have Tucker Carlson at an event. One of the big billionaire Israeli funders said, I'm going to withdraw my funding if you have him on. We're mad at Tucker Carlson. Charlie Kirk supposedly said, no, we're going to have Tucker Carlson on. You can't tell me what to do. And that guy withdrew $2 million in funding, is what they're saying. And they're saying that is what led the Jews to kill Charlie Kirk. I shit you not. They are 100% going down that rabbit hole. Marcia Gear, I'm so sick of the entire administration. And I hear you. Happy hump day to you, Jason. I appreciate you. No shit. Really. They can't say it's Tyler Robinson because he's one of theirs, and it's coming out without a doubt. He's a little conservative Utah kid. They cannot blame one of their own, so they're going to blame the Jews. These people are beyond redemption. And it is a big fight within Turning Point. You've got, oh God, what's her name? Forgive me, I'm tongue-tied. Candace Owens, who came out of by the way, y'all remember Candace Owens, she came out of Turning Point USA. She is the one that's saying, she has text messages that the Jews were angry at Charlie Kirk, and she's helping foment this stuff. She really is. It is a big right-wing dust-up right now, and you're not hearing shit about it in the corporate media at all. That these crazies, we had to have this stupid funeral that all of these people wanted to televise. All this crazy shit about Charlie Kirk. But when it comes down to, oh my God, they don't think it's Tyler Robinson anymore. They're all blaming the Jews. Half of Turning Point USA is going one way. Half is going the other. They're having a freaking civil war in their own little thing. Nothing. Crickets. You hear nothing. Nothing. Et tu, Brutus. All rabbit holes lead to Bad Bunny. Yeah. Well, look, I want to leave you with some good news. This just happened. Get off politics for just a second. This just happened. Trio wins Nobel Chemistry Prize for developing Hermione's handbag material. What that means is they have developed a molecular structure that is, it is really cool. It combines metals In this case, in this example, would be chromium ion, and an organic material in this case would be terephthalic acid in what they call a linker. The organic material is a linker. They can produce this depending on which metallic compound they use and which organic compound they use. There's several that they can use. They've created a substance that is super porous, a sugar size piece, a sugar cube size piece. If you could fold out all of the sides of it and lay it out flat, has as much surface area as a football field. Oh yeah, man. They're talking about they're able to use this stuff, not just oil cleanup, but PFAS, the forever chemicals. They can, by changing whatever organic linker that they use, they can change the size of the openings of the porosity in this material. They're talking about using it to catch water in deserts, where they're trying to, in China and, all over the Middle East, they're trying to reclaim deserts. They can actually catch water out of desert air. Microparticles, you're talking about water filtration. There's an unlimited number of uses for this material. It is incredible. So yeah, I want to leave you with there are good things still going on. ET, people get involved with your local DIMs. They need any help that you can do. Exactly, my friend. Exactly. This is what it looks like under an electron microscope. It is really cool. It is really cool. And like I said, just by using the same process to manufacture it, but by changing both the metallic material and the organic materials, they can change the size of this lattice to make it do whatever they need it to do. It works like a sponge. I mean, this is incredible, man. This is the biggest thing to happen since graphene, folks. This is going to be life-changing. This will change the way we do things all over the world, from, like you said, oil cleanup to providing water in places that there just is no water. You just literally just pull it right out of the air. This is incredible stuff. There are really good people out there still doing really good things. And I just want you to keep that in mind, because I know we get focused on these really shitty people that are running our country right now and their fascist ideas. But we have really smart people like Congresswoman Johnson, really strong people. We haven't stopped as a species growing and doing amazing things. And I can't stress to you enough how life-changing this is going to be. It is incredible. They're called MOFs. It is just incredible what they're going to be able to do with this material. George Allen says, Prop 50 coming up in Cali. Vote, vote, vote. Yes, by all means, California, get out there and vote. Make these Republicans pay for their gerrymandering. Show them that this gerrymandering will not pay off anymore. Because if you get it done in California, they will do it in New Jersey. They will do it in New York. They will do it in Illinois. They will do it across the country. And this bullshit that Republicans have been pulling with their gerrymandering will be over. Well, look, folks, we've gone 2 solid hours here. I appreciate you for hanging on. I'm sorry I went so long. I do apologize. Thank you for all the support. I can't do it without you. I just can't. I can't do this full time without your support. And I'm truly grateful. Truly, truly grateful. Enjoy some Texas cities at night.